Over the past few days, former U.S. President Donald Trump has once again stirred global debate with his controversial remarks, this time focusing on NATO and Russian oil. Trump declared that America will only impose new sanctions on Russia if all NATO countries completely stop purchasing Russian oil. At first glance, this sounds like a straightforward condition, but in reality, it carries extremely complex implications for geopolitics, economics, and global security. Russia is one of the world's largest exporters of oil and gas, and much of Europe, particularly Germany, Italy, and Eastern European states, has long been heavily dependent on these supplies. After the invasion of Ukraine, Western powers did place sanctions on Russia, but cutting off oil entirely has proven nearly impossible because of Europe's urgent energy needs. Trump's statement is therefore both ambitious and controversial, as it demands unity among NATO members in an area where their interests are often divided. From Trump's perspective, the strategy is simple: NATO allies should share the sacrifices if they expect America to take strong action. This fits with his long-standing criticism that NATO members do not pay their fair share in defense spending. By linking new sanctions to a full boycott of Russian oil, Trump aims to pressure European governments to take harder stances against Moscow. Yet the practicality of such a demand is highly questionable. Countries like Germany are still struggling to diversify their energy sources, Eastern European states receive direct pipeline supplies from Russia, and Turkey maintains its own energy deals with Moscow despite being a NATO member. For them, an immediate cutoff would create economic chaos, soaring inflation, and potentially mass protests at home. The economic implications of Trump's demand would be massive. If NATO members suddenly stopped buying Russian oil, global prices would skyrocket. In the short term, this would plunge Europe into a severe energy crisis, while in the long term it might accelerate the shift toward renewable energy and alternative suppliers like the Middle East, U.S. shale oil, or Norway. At the same time, Russia would likely respond by selling its oil at discounted rates to China, India, and African nations, blunting much of the intended effect. In fact, sanctions in the modern world rarely completely isolate a country, and Trump's plan might instead deepen Russia's partnership with China, creating a stronger anti-Western bloc. Politically, Trump's remarks serve more than just policy goals, they reinforce his public image. He presents himself as a leader who is unafraid to issue bold, uncompromising demands, even if they seem unrealistic. His supporters see this as strength, a willingness to stand up to Putin and force NATO to act with unity. His critics, however, argue that such proposals are reckless and show little understanding of economic realities. Within Europe, the reaction is mixed. Some,